Okay, so I had a ProDesk 600 G3 Mini in my collection that did not have a CPU. And normally I would just purchase probably an i5 6500T, maybe an i3, just some of the very more standard CPUs that you see out there, especially those that come with the units, when they get them back from the corporations, etc. But then I was looking at what's available or what is, been blessed, or the various configurations that the particular unit came in. And I saw this right at the top, Intel Celeron G3930T. Well, that is basically the low end of what you can get for that G3. I mean, you could go the far other end and get an i7, 7700T, etc. But I thought, what would be the difference in terms of cost, overall performance, etc., if we went with the lowest one? So I went ahead and purchased one of these. And if you're curious, this is for the ProDesk 600, but if you look at the EliteDesk 800, the same thing applies there. They've got, talking about the G3930T, as being, again, sort of their low end of it. So, everything we talk about the ProDesk is the same for the EliteDesk. So, and then I was curious to know, well, if I go to that low end versus going with a 6500T, what are some of the main differences? So I went on to the Intel site, and you can put in your various CPUs and it will give you a rundown of the differences. One of the big ones right away, of course, is that you only have 2-core with this Celeron, where you have 4-core with the 6500T, 2 threads versus 4 threads. The 6500T has this sort of turbo boost mode, has a bigger cache. It's obvious that you're going to get more it's a more powerful processor. Strangely enough, the G3 930T is actually a newer processor than the 6500T, which kind of makes sense because you could use the 6500T with your G2s. Most of the big differences come when you get down to some of the advanced technologies. 6500 has this turbo boost. It's vPro platform compliant or ready, I guess eligible, trusted execution technology. So yeah, I mean that's why it's very rare to find a G3 that has one of these low-end processors. I don't think corporations wanted to spend the money to get them when it wouldn't be much more to actually get a full-fledged hardcore CPU for it. I did run the unit through Geekbench. And if we look at these numbers, here's the ProDesk with that G3930T. And the only thing it's better than are a couple of the thin clients. And of course, those are made really to be very low end because, there's no fan, very little heat sink. They're just supposed to be sort of sit there. And so you can see the numbers here, both when it comes to single core and multi-core. I mean, even the little HP 300 hockey puck had better numbers than this, the one we're testing with the ProDesk with this low end. Now, one thing I wanted to point out also, though, with this low end also comes a lower price. So I was able to get mine for about $9 on eBay. If I went with the 6500T, I would be spending closer to $25. So that's a $16 difference. And, if you got your ProDesk or EliteDesk very cheap because it was bare bones, or, you bought a whole bunch of them and maybe you didn't want to outfit all of them with, tons of memory and high-end CPU, then, why spend it when we can go low end? I only put 8 gig of memory in my particular one too, again, to try to keep overall costs down. What I want to do then is bring up the unit in Windows. We'll run heavy load on it. We'll look at some of the thermals. We'll look at the power draw, see how that compares maybe with some of the other units. I can tell you that this low end had no problem installing Windows 11, the latest release. Start to end, it went through. Yeah, it took a little longer perhaps than others, but I didn't get any warnings, etc. It just went right through and did the install. One thing to note, you may not hear it in the video that talks about running heavy load, but when I first brought up Windows and just kind of let it idle for a little bit, power draw was anywhere, it kind of vacillated between maybe 7 watts to 13 watts. And then later you'll see the numbers that come up when we actually run heavy load, and I'll talk about those. Okay, so after 5 minutes of the heavy load, we're looking at core temp about 54 degrees. Power draw only got to about 27 watts during that time, which is not bad. Let's stop it and see how quickly the temperatures go back down. It isn't cooling down that quickly, although it is down 10 degrees from the high, 56. And 56 is not that high considering what we've seen with some of the other units where some of them were getting into the low 70s. So temps are very good for that particular low-end CPU. And power draw, again, it kind of dropped back down to about the 8 watt range as soon as we went off of heavy load. And temps continue to drop down. So you've got a pretty nice kind of low-end CPU that then allows you to maybe keep your power draw down, your temps down, of course the overall cost. So that's it's definitely an option for those that maybe don't need something that intense, that maybe just needs a very simple kind of CPU to be able to run their stuff.